Welcome back to PLS 510, and in this very short grazing video, I want to introduce you to the NRCS grazing tool, which is a spreadsheet-based tool that calculates forage production and compares that to forage need. And I want to give you a brief overview about it and to explain how your assignment will work and how to submit it. But I will let you then go into the model itself and work out and work through the scenario. What I would like for you to do, your homework or your discussion this week will be to create a scenario of livestock. The Graze model is really built for cattle, but if you wanted to use equivalent sizes for other types of livestock and just make that mental switch in your mind, it would work for that as well. I want you to go through and create the output and then submit the output, print the output as PDFs and submit that by Canvas. The other part will be to give me feedback on the model and how it works. So in order to make this work, we need to know the forage type, the acres, and the estimated grazing efficiency, and you will get to then pick this. It's not something that you're going to have to determine. You can pick those numbers. You'll need to know the soil suitability group for the soil of your pasture. Now, for our purposes, I'm going to let you assign your soil suitability group number to be 1, which means it's a very good soil, and the pasture will yield what it maximally might yield. In other words, it can reach its maximal attainable yield. And then you need to know the number of each type of livestock, their body weight, and percent intake. And there are some guides within the tool for picking those numbers. This is going to be an example final output from one particular forage scenario where we had 175 1,400-pound cows on 510 acres. And this is a real scenario from a student in a prior class. His forage system was fescue plus alfalfa, big blue stem, and corn stalks. And the forage livestock balance is shown in the graph. The blue is the forage production. The orange is the forage need, and you can see that in certain periods of the year, here's the calendar on the bottom, and unlike most calendars in this model, it starts with April and runs through March. You can see that our big deficit occurs here in the wintertime, but we have a large amount of surplus in the spring and early summer that we can harvest for hay. And in fact, we had some extra production here in the fall that was probably from cool season material because we had the corn stalks to graze at the same time. At the bottom of that page, below the graph in the model itself, is going to be your forage balance against the forage need. So it's going to be a table. And I've taken that table and actually cut out the middle so that you can see the terms or the columns or for the rows, not the columns, but the titles for the rows on the left, and then the totals over here on the right. So what the model will calculate the total forage available in pounds for each month, the total forage need in pounds at same time, the forage surplus or deficits in animal units. That would be the 1,000-pound animal units. Then depending on your size, your animal that you picked, it's going to do the forage surplus or deficit in animal unit equivalents. And you'll remember these are 1,400-pound cows versus 1,000-pound. So again, it'd be like saying, for 1,000, you can carry more 1,000-pound cows on a farm than you can 1,400-pound cows. So that's what that is. But it gives you a surplus or a deficit calculation. And then it calculates the hay or stockpiled forage needed in tons within the months where you are short. and it then tallies up your available hay in tons when you have surplus. It carries that to the right and then shows at the end, are you net above the bar or below the bar? Did you have excess of hay that you could sell, or are you in a position to where you need to buy hay? And so this is going to be, this last screen is actually probably the most important screen for our assignment. This is the full table that from that output from that scenario at the top, and you can see the two pieces that I cut out to then make the table before. So please work out your own grazing scenario using the NRCS grazing tool, and I will provide that link to you, or that spreadsheet as a file in Canvas. Print a PDF of each tab of the spreadsheet up through the summary tab and submit all of those via Canvas, and also submit, if you don't mind, your feedback and your comments on the model itself, questions or things that aren't making sense to the model. So this is the end of this very short lecture or very short video on the NRCS grazing tool. I hope you find it useful.